On today's Fast Friday, linear versus non-linear focus. I'll make it interesting, I promise. Well, hi everyone, and welcome to Pal to Tech. Today we're talking about linear versus non-linear focus on Fujifilm cameras. Now, not all Fuji cameras have this option, but the newer ones do. Whenever you attach a Fujifilm lens, it communicates electronically to your camera. This is made possible by these electronic contacts right here. Because of them, anything that you do physically with your lens, such as turning the focus or the aperture ring, is all managed electronically. Now, the entire concept of your lens communicating electronically with your camera leads to a process that Fujifilm users call focus by wire. With that out of the way, let's now understand linear versus non-linear focusing. These settings are located not in the AF/MF section of the menu where you might think, but actually down here in the little wrench area, button dial settings. The option right here where it says lens zoom focus setting. And you see it right here, focus ring operation. There's two options, non-linear and linear. Remember that not all Fujifilm cameras have this function, so if yours doesn't, I'm sorry, but watch the video anyway. By default, the camera is set to non-linear. Both of these settings directly affect how your Fujifilm camera interprets the way you manually rotate the focus ring. If you have it set in linear mode, your focus will change by a fixed amount for each degree of rotation of the focus ring. And here's the important part, it doesn't matter how fast or slow you're turning the focus ring. The amount of rotation that you need to make to move the focal plane is exactly the same regardless of how fast you're turning the focus ring. But instead, if you have it set to non-linear, then the speed of your focus actually changes according to the speed at which you are rotating the focus ring. In other words, if you turn it slower, then your focus distance will actually change more slowly. Let me show you a demo that'll make this very easy to understand. And to make this a little bit easier to see, I'm going to put a little bit of white tape to mark the focus ring. I'm also going to go into the AF/MF section and turn on MF Assist. Just to be clear, you don't need to do that to use either of these focus modes, but I'm doing it so that you can more easily see what part of the scene is in focus. If I go ahead and choose linear, and I have the camera set to manual focus mode, I want you to watch what happens. I'm going to go ahead and focus in on the object right here in the foreground and try and get a feel for how much I'm turning the focus ring here. Okay, so here we go. I am rotating the focus ring, rotating the focus ring, rotating the focus ring, rotating, and there, right about there. And if you'll notice, the white tape went all the way around. Now it's right here. You see that? For linear mode, no matter how fast or how slowly I turn the focus ring, the focus will shift at a steady state. Now we're going to set the menu instead of linear, we're going to put it on non-linear. This is the only change we're going to make to the camera settings. Okay, ready? Here we go. Done. Now, if you look at the lens, where's the tape? Well, it only traveled this far. It took less amount of turning the focus ring to get the rear object in focus. There's more. Watch this. This time I'm going to turn it really slowly, very slowly. Turning the focus ring, turning the focus ring, still turning the focus ring. Still, oh, there we go. Even though I was in the same mode as before, non-linear, look at how much more I had to rotate the focus ring. But again, watch what happens when I turn it quickly. Ready and go. Look at that. Notice how I quickly turned it? That sped up the time for the camera to acquire focus on the object in the background. Barely moved. So which one should you use? Well, that all depends on the type of lens that you're shooting with, particularly the focal length and the aperture, and even more importantly, the type of photography that you're doing. Linear mode is generally better for shooting video, as you get a more consistent focus shift. It's also better for macro photography, where you've got that tiniest little adjustment can make a huge difference to the focal plane. As for non-linear mode, generally speaking, that would be a preference for situations situations where focus needs to change quickly. Like if you're shooting sports or shooting wildlife and you're tracking a subject that's moving unpredictably and randomly in and out of your focal plane. One thing I do want to mention is that to see a real noticeable benefit in nonlinear mode, you would need to practice with that mode on the specific lens that you're going to be using. Anyhow, whatever mode you're in, I want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found the video helpful, or at least entertaining. And if you did, be sure to give it the like and subscribe. I am going to be signing off now, but have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you in a new video next week. Take care.